Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Comic Cave. So as you can see, we've got something slightly different for you today because people often ask me, so what's your favorite statue out of your whole collection? And has to be this guy. So this is Venompool. He's made by PCS. He's a 1:3 scale statue. The size is just unbelievable. So his hand is about the same size as my hand. The weight, I'm guessing, is about over 150 kgs. The detail is phenomenal. So even though it seems like it isn't, just the integral, like the tiniest veins and details within the suit, the base is done so well with the slight mold on the sentinel head. Brilliant. So, as you guessed, he's a blend of Venom and Deadpool. So, what happened if the Venom symbiote joined onto the crazy, like, nut job that Deadpool is? And this is the result. So, I love the uniqueness of the character. I think that's what makes it special for me. About the character, his first appearance is kind of debated because people either say it's in What If. So I personally think it's in What If Venom Possessed Deadpool. That's a Scotty Young cover. Or it could have been in Cable Deadpool 50 or Contest of Champions. But that's personal. People argue about that all the time. So as you can see today, I'm wearing my Comic-Con Africa hat. So by the time this video airs, I'm guessing it would be the last day of Comic-Con, and I hope everyone's gone out there to support and check it out. It's phenomenal. The amount of work that goes into it to get a level of that, like an event of that magnitude, is next level. So big ups. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm very sad I'm missing it this year, but next year I'll try and coincide my trip to be there because it's great, and it's people with the same passions. So instead of doing, shut up, Holly. Instead of doing the usual like news, rumors, and spec, I thought this week let's rather talk about, well, D23 has dominated the news cycle, so it still is. All those rumors and people are still talking about it, so there isn't really much in news. So I'd rather talk about what a friend of mine and I spoke about this week, because the big question very often is the comic market imploding? Or is the comic bubble about to burst? Now, this is a sensitive topic for a lot of collectors, and I wanted to be very open and share my point of view. I don't mean to offend anyone. This is just my 2 cents. Please let me know what you guys think, and let's make this more interactive so you can tell me, how you feel on the topic. So I think we have to go back a little, because if you're as old as I am, you remember the comic crash of the 90s. So what happened in the 90s is the big studio houses like Marvel and DC, they would print out lots of issue ones, lots of the shiny holofoil covers, the wraparound covers, trying to make things unique, trying to entice buyers to buy them and tell them that these were going to be the next big things where they were going to make a lot of money. So on the cover would say sensational first issue or premiere issue. But this was because in the 60s, Marvel Comics, the first issues there, lots of them had first appearances. So they were keys. So those did go up in value. And people in the 90s were seeing that, 80s and 90s. Even better, in the 40s and 50s, if you had DC comics that were first, then those were worth serious money at that time. Fast forward to now, where we're seeing the same type of behavior from the comic sellers, so your big comic houses, and variant print runs, which are just ridiculous. And I'll get into that just now. and where it killed it for me. But it's more than just. So let me first answer the question. Is the comic market imploding? Are comics worthwhile to collect? And my honest answer is yes, some of them. Now, let me break that down for you. Comics for me are a tangible asset. It's something where you're never ever going to lose value, or it'll always hold some value for someone. So as long as someone wants it, you could sell that to a collector in Tokyo or Australia, and you will still get a value for it. So it's not based on any one currency. So if you're in South Africa and a politician says something silly and your currency takes a dive, that comic still has a dollar value amount. So it's actually essentially worth more. A friend of mine once took 3 comics over to the States. He then sold them in the States, and that paid for his whole holiday. There was Disneyland, the flights, the accommodation, the everything. So that kind of tells you there is real value in comics. Now, what should you buy? What should you collect? Currently, what killed it for me was, some of you know that I'm trying to collect Batman from issue 1 all the way through to current. And it is a nightmare to try and collect. So I think I have from 1953 all the way through till current. And I've bought every single variant, direct edition, the newsstands, as many as I could get, the variations. But in volume 2, I got every single one. So that meant if there was a tiny print run of only 500 copies of issue 28, I would get a copy. Or if there was a copy from Baltimore Comic Con or C2E2, I would get every variant, which was okay, kind of crazy, but I did it. That got up to volume 3, issue 50, and I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back, because then that run, I think there were over 60 variants, which means that each comic house had an artist like Gabriel Del Otto or J. Scott Campbell, and each of those artists had 3 separate variants, color, sketch, and partial sketch variant. And it became unrealistic for me to be able to get all of them. So I didn't. And I think for many collectors, they reach that point where they're going, now you just, that's not funny anymore. It's not realistic, and I'm not gonna play into your funny plan. I'm trying to watch my language. So that for me is what made me stop collecting variants. Now I think lots of people are trying to get the next big thing. And I need to warn you that in modern comics, that is highly unlikely. Ultimate Fallout 4, the first appearance of Miles Morales, has to be that exception to that rule, because that is a modern grail. First Miles, huge. The problem is the other million comics that came out in the modern age are worth next to nothing. So what happened last year is we had the stimulus checks from COVID, and those stimulus checks boosted the economy, the market, like the comic market. And we saw big sales and we saw huge prices for normal comics. And the problem with that is, now that that money's run out, it was a fake high. We're ending up with a market correction. So you're seeing comic prices now drop to more real or realistic values. And in that, I have to say, your modern comics are not holding their value because the print runs were just too big. So you must remember, it's a supply and demand kind of thing. If you've got a print run of 1,000,000 comics, like the Jim Lee X-Men 1 run, then there are always going to be copies out there. That comic's never going to be worth more than $20, even no matter what happens. So paying $40 for a normal comic with a large print run, you're going to, unfortunately, when that market correction happens, it's only worth $20, and no one's ever going to pay more than $20. You've lost $20. So for me, I would honestly suggest sticking to Silver Age and not necessarily the high grade stuff, because if you're buying a 9.8 or a high grade, then you have to know that you're paying a premium price right there. What we've found lately in the market is your low and mid grades, you can still pick up at a really good price, and collectors around the world are looking for those slightly more affordable copies, but they can fill their runs, they can have their keys. So if a person wants to try and collect all of the Avengers keys, so let's say first appearance of Thor, Loki, Jane Foster, and then try and get all of those, buying them at high grades is going to be ridiculous. So personally, for me, I really think that this is a very good market to get into. As with any market and speculation, there are risks. So you don't gamble more than you have, and really collect what you love. If you're buying something that is special to you, not so recently, but I got the first appearance of Deadshot in Batman. And for me, yes, it was a big buy, but I'm so happy I have it for my collection now. So, guys, I hope this made sense. It shed some light on the bigger topic of, I do not think the comic market has imploded. I don't think the bubble's going to burst anytime soon. But we are going to see a market correction. So people will be selling things off. With a recession coming, it's going to happen. But if you're collecting a specific run, or if you're collecting bigger keys, something that has significance, then you're quite safe. So there will always be a collector who wants that comic, who wants that first appearance. Hang on to it. Keep it safe. Bag and board it well. I think that's, for me, the biggest thing, because 5 years from now, when there's a massive resurgence in that character, or something happens, then you're going to be smiling all the way to the bank. Okay, guys, so that's it from me. I hope you guys have an amazing Comic-Con. Thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you on the side of the flipping. Bye.